I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself, since many of you have never met me before, and I've not been to India in 600 years. I was born in Germany on a military base. So I'm correcting some karma there. I was lucky to be taught prayer and meditation when I was a child, and practiced even though it was in a Christian way. And later I have transcended and realized that all the names for God go to the same place, including Goddess. As you know, I've started a school to teach people this technique and how to heal their lives and their karma and their childhoods, and to give the same peace. And I only train people who are willing to give it back to the world, not just coming to me for healing, because the world needs a lot more healing. And now I'm going to tell you about things that hurt me, because I want you to know that I didn't just beam down from heaven looking like this, that I climbed out of hell. So this is a painting I painted, and I put it there to remind myself, to tell you the truth, because we're going to do a lot of truth-telling to ourselves today as we're learning how to be the change we want to see. Because the things that are stopping you may be the same things that I healed, and I want you to know it's possible. So shortly after I was born on the military base, to a young mother who wasn't married and got married after I was this big inside of her. My mother and father split after 2 years, and I was raised for the first 4 years by my mother. When she remarried, this man didn't like me and started beating me when I was 5. At the age of 14, I was raped by a Mexican prostitute. You'd think that they would have enough sex, huh? I was brainwashed by a spiritual tradition, and out of respect for people who may still want to be in that tradition, I won't name it, but they're evangelical Christians. And I was forced to live in that mindset until I left home at 17. Those things don't hurt me, and they haven't stopped me. But what it did do is give me a burning desire to end suffering, to bring purity and peace back to us, no matter what we've been through. I'm as pure as the day I was born. And I want you to know that all that trauma in my body, that fear of men, if a man was standing next to me and he moved his arm like this, I would go like this, because I thought I was about to be hit. If a man raised his voice, I would run and hide underneath a car or in a closet. My body would shake. I love men now. I trust myself, and I trust the men that I choose to connect with. And I have my power and my peace. So I want you to know that no matter what you've done, what you've seen done, or what was done to you, that all of that can be healed, completely healed. So now I'm going to teach you about EFT. Woo. Let's see if I can go back. With EFT, we're learning how to create empathy, love, and forgiveness for what has been. This energetically neutralizes the pain, heals the past, and gives you the freedom and energy to make new choices. So we hear how beautiful the spiritual realms are. And we hear that it's all about our beliefs and our karma, which, in my opinion, is just unprocessed emotional pain from another time and place. Just simply, I never got over it, and then I died. And then I had to start there again and finish that lesson. And this energy that's still in our bodies can be taken out when it meets love. That's all it's waiting for. It can't be avoided, it can't be hated away. It can't be pushed down while you do your spiritual practices up here. You have to go through the middle of it with your love. And that's the practice we're going to do today. The only reason, in my opinion, that the world is still the way it is because we're still holding on to what happened to us, the beliefs, the fears, and the traumas in our bodies. And that stops us from taking action. It gives us fear, it gives us anxiety, it makes us tired, and it makes us not believe in ourselves. After those things happened to me, I didn't believe that I would ever be standing speaking on a microphone, that anyone would want to listen to what I had to say. And I cried, and I tapped, and I prayed, and I meditated, and I listened, and I healed that fear, and gave my body to the goddess. This is your heart, mother. This is your womb. These are your feet. These are your hands. This is your voice. This is your life that you gave me as I am your daughter. And I will do what you ask me to do. And because you're asking me, there must be a way. It's a very simple prayer. So now I'm going to teach you the tapping points. So the first points, do this with me. So find your collarbones and then drop about 6 inches down and pressing in the front of the chest until you find a sore spot that feels tender. You're like, ooh, what does that feel? Oh. So press around with your fingers until you're feeling that sore spot. And for women, it might be in the upper breast tissue area. You find a sore spot there? Okay. So when you press here on the body, it opens up the emotional and the rational side of the brain so they can talk to each other. Usually we have the emotional side quieted, and only the rational side is being validated. I shouldn't feel this way. This is not a problem. All is well. The emotional side is like, ah! Okay? So this is going to let them have a conversation. The next points are here at the beginning of the eyebrows, right where your eyebrows start. If you're wearing spectacles, take them off because you're going to need the points around your eyes, unless you are so blind that you can't see me, and then you'll just tap around them. But that's okay if you can't see without them. All right, so tapping the eyebrows, right on the eyebrows, to the side of the third eye. Okay? So these are acupuncture meridians that they use in China for Chinese medicine. Tap the temples. And each one of these is like a wire that goes to a different place in your body. You can use 1 or 2 fingers. This is very flexible. You could use 1 hand or 2 hands. Tap the front of your cheekbones and breathe. Big sigh. Nice, noisy sigh, because that releases more energy. Okay? Under the nose, on above the lip, right here, okay? So just gently tapping. And then under the lips, on the chin. Big sigh again. To the chest, open your hand, spread your fingers out, tapping all over the chest. You've got multiple points. Front of the rib cage, so the bottom of the ribs, where your ribs stick out the most in front. Big, deep breath. The side of the rib cage, like this or like this, depending on what's the easiest for you. For me, it's the monkey tap. Okay. The next point is the inside of the wrist on the wrist bone. So put your hand up. Feel where, when you move your hand, you feel that bone that pops up and down? That's the heart point. Okay, so far you've been stimulating the bladder, the gallbladder, the stomach, the lungs, the liver, and the spleen are coming next. Tapping the side of the thumb. So put your hand like you're going to karate chop something and tap on the top edge of your thumb right next to the nail. With one hand, yeah. And it doesn't matter which hand. I could be doing the left hand or the right hand. Okay? It's a very flexible and forgiving process. Index finger, same place, right at the side of your fingernail, at the tip of your hand. Middle finger, same place. Big deep breath, big sigh. Good. Now the next one is the bottom of the fourth finger, so it's the opposite side. Okay? This finger has the meridian called the triple warmer, and it controls your relationship to self and perceived other. So all your relationships, this is why we wear wedding rings on this finger sometimes to loop the energy in the relationship finger. It also controls your temperature of your body. Tap your little finger back to the original edge and the side of your hand. Big, deep breath. Beautiful. Now the top of the head, the sides of the head, behind the ears, and the back of the skull. Beautiful. Now you've successfully learned all the tapping points. You could just relax. So what this does is it gives your whole body an energy bath. It's like taking a hot shower electrically. So the chi, the prana, the divine life force that we're soaking in, the body of God, comes into our bodies through the chakras and then go to the organs and the glands and the tissues through the meridians. Just like there's power coming from somewhere in India to Pyramid Valley, then it comes through the transformers and the wires into the pyramid and then into the outlets. Okay? And we're tapping on the little outlets, getting the circuits to come back to life. Because when you're told that you're the worst child ever, when you're told that your mother doesn't love you or that your father doesn't love you, we electrically shut down. You feel it happen to you, right? Raise your hand if you felt your body go into shock when you heard something mean. You, right? And you pull your energy back and it shuts down. And unless there's some love for you, it can stay shut down. Raise your hand if some part of you has stayed shut down because of something mean that somebody said to you. And you can feel that, like, yeah, okay, it's pretty much everybody, yeah? It doesn't take a lot. And we've had more than one mean thing said to us, usually. So what we're doing is we're going to find the circuit breaker, and we're going flip, 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 and turning the electricity back on. And the way we do that is find where we're in pain, where we're sensitive, where we get triggered. Do you know what triggered means? It's where you see that person, you hear the music, You go to a certain place, you're like, oh, this is where the sad thing happened. You feel the emotion again when there's a stimulus. Okay, because part of your brain says that this situation equals this feeling. And it happened either so strong or so many times that it became a fact. And what we're going to do is find those facts and reevaluate them. And make a new choice after we've put some love there. And the way we put love there is by acknowledging what we've been believing and fearing and what we've been telling ourselves. So positive thinking is very, very good, but only after you clean up the negative underneath it does it really become powerful. So if I took a piece of paper and I wrote, I hate myself on that paper, and then I said, oh, I shouldn't say that to myself. I'm going to now write, I love myself on top of it. Would you still be able to read what was underneath? It would still be there. You'd still see it. I could write, I love myself, I love myself, I love myself 100 times, and I could still sort of see underneath that, no. So that sense of love never feels true. It feels like I want people to think that. I want to think that, but underneath, it still feels like at the core that I'm not good enough. So what I'm going to teach you to do is erase the I hate myself, so that when you write I love myself, that's all you see. That's what you experience, and because of that, that's what others experience. And there's peace, because we're not trying to pretend anymore or hide anything in our eyes.